On today's episode of the Tweet Show Podcast, we're going to preview week 4 of the NFL, and then we're going to recap the Thursday night matchup as well. And we might even talk some other sports. I don't know. We'll see how this episode goes, because I feel like this is now like the 10th take of me trying to record a podcast. So we'll see how things go. You know, I either get distracted or I lose the mojo, or then I just go, we got to do a retake. So, I mean, it's just going to be one of those episodes, I feel like, where I'm going to either it's going to suck, it's going to be just bad, and I'm just going to be like, F it, here's the episode, just what you get, or it's going to be a good one, people might actually listen to it. So we'll see how it goes. All right, so with that all being said, we will get started with today's episode. All right, let's recap the Thursday night matchup between the Seahawks and the Cardinals. Obviously, the takeaways are that the Arizona Cardinals probably aren't necessarily a great team or a bad team. They're just an okay team. Their defense, I feel like, is good, but their offense is a bit of inconsistency. If Marvin Harrison Jr. can start catching the ball a little bit more often, maybe they'll be good. But I feel like that first 3 quarters, and then obviously the 3 games prior to last night's game, where he was dropping a lot of passes and wasn't necessarily playing up to his standard of football. And then obviously Kyler Murray, I feel like, played okay, but not necessarily. I mean, he played a lot better in the fourth quarter, because I feel like it was basically just Seattle's pretty much dominated that game through 4 quarters, or I should say 3 quarters, and then the Cardinals kind of came alive late in the fourth quarter just to make it a bit more interesting, because this game was definitely going to be a snooze fest. And the original plan was to record after the game, but I kind of got tired and then I fell asleep, so wasn't able to do that. Wasn't going to be able to do a late night reaction to the games, and that's why I'm now having to do it now. So yeah, as for Seattle, I feel like they're a pretty good team. I feel like they're going to be a playoff team. I feel like their offense is also a slight bit of inconsistency. They can move the ball. Don't get me wrong. They can move the ball up and down the field, but I feel like they left opportunities to score touchdowns instead of just. I feel like if you have an opportunity to score a touchdown instead of just kicking field goals. I felt like there were plenty of opportunities where they should have been able to get in the end zone instead of just taking the point and kicking field goals. So I think they're definitely going to be an interesting team to look out for, because this is probably the second game that I've watched the Seattle game, because I watched most of the Niners game, and because I wasn't really that impressed with them in that 49ers game. I mean, I was impressed by the defense, but the offense was doing nothing in that game. But I think this offense was played a lot bit better in this game. So I'll be curious to see how Seattle kind of looks the rest of the year, because let's go by game and see how their schedule kind of looks like. Let's see, who does Seattle play next week? Because I think next week's not an imperative opponent. So, actually it is. Never mind, I take it all back. Their next game but it's going to be at home. But they play the Bucs. Should be a good game. Then they're going to play the Jags. They're going to play the Texans at home, and then they'll play the Commanders in DC. So that's the next 4 games. And that game, the Commanders game, is on Sunday night. So I feel like we're going to learn a little bit more about the Seattle team, of what to really make of them. If they're going to be a playoff team, or if they're just going to be sort of in that hunt, and maybe they'll just be one of the last few teams in. But I think they're going to be. I don't think they're going to win the division, but I do think they're going to be a playoff team. So I guess it'll be interesting to see what the rest of the season kind of looks like for them. So, all right, let's see. Let's jump ahead and go to the preview side of things. And let's preview week 4. All right, so the Dublin game, the early morning kickoff game in Dublin. So this game will be kicking off here at 8:30 Central Time, 9:30 Eastern. Set your alarms if you're fans of either of those teams, or if you're a fan of football. But I'll probably miss the first quarter because I'll be asleep, but I will probably wake up around like 9, so I'll miss like the first 30 minutes. So I'll be up for about the second quarter of it. And so, yeah, I don't know what I'm going to make of this game. Because, I don't think the Steelers is that good. I don't think the Steelers are that good. I don't think they're even a playoff team, to be honest with you. Even though their record shows that they're 2-1, but I don't think they're that good. And I don't think the AFC is that good either. So I'm not really that impressed by their pass game. I'm especially not impressed by the run game at all. They're ranked dead last, and I think the pass game was ranked inside the top 25. So here, let me look at my notes here that I had for this game. Yeah, because they're ranked 24th in passing, and then they're ranked first in rushing. So yeah, the run game is non-existent. There's no run game whatsoever with the Steelers at all, because their past 3 games, they rushed for 53 yards against the Jets, they rushed for 72 yards against the Seahawks, and they rushed for 64 yards against the Patriots. And I think the Vikings defense is very good, and Brian Flores has done an amazing job with that defense the past couple years with them. So I don't think they're going to really rush for that much anyways. So I guess they're going to have to probably pass the ball again, which I don't think is necessarily going to do any of them any good because I feel like Rodgers is kind of just doing a lot of dinks and dunks and not really pushing the ball down the field. And maybe it's just because the offensive line isn't very good, and that's why the run game isn't really getting established, and that's why they're not having success running the ball because they're ranked pretty much dead last. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like this is definitely going to be a low scoring game. I think this game might be in the low 20s. So if I had to make a prediction on what the score might be, I mean, I'm going to take the Vikings to win this game. So I would say the Vikings win by it's going to be 21-17, probably. 2 touchdowns by the Steelers, and then they'll probably kick a field goal or something like that. But yeah, because I mean, if you're talking about the Steelers defense as well, I still can't get over the fact that the Jets scored that many points on their Steelers defense. And usually the Steelers defense is pretty good. So I don't know what to really make of them. I don't think they're that good, but maybe they actually are. But they played Seattle and they scored up. I mean, now granted, one of the touchdowns came off of a mishap on special teams, but and then who they play last week? Who did they play last week? Well, the Patriots, where they only scored 14. But again, I'm still a little hesitant on the defense side for the Steelers. So it's gonna be an intriguing game. It's gonna be a low scoring. It's gonna be one of those ugly early mornings overseas games. So that we're always sort of used to in these types of matchups. Because I think last year the Jets went over there with Aaron Rodgers. So, but then granted that game was in London, so this will be a different environment for Aaron Rodgers. But he played against the Vikings last year, and I don't think he threw 3 interceptions in that game. So he didn't really play all that well. So maybe those will be sort of the same results as the last matchup he had against Brian Flores in that defense. So I guess we'll have to wait and see. I think the Vikings are getting some of their players back. I think I wrote in my notes here that they might get back Brian Kelly, Andrew Van Winkle on defense. So, and then there's a crazy stat that I found on the internet that did you know that what quarterbacks are on 3rd and longs, and I don't really know what to classify as 3rd and long, meaning I'm guessing between 7 or more or 6 or more or something like that. I'm guessing between 6-7 yards of being considered 3rd and long. I guess they're this year against Minnesota, they are 1 for 18 on 3rd down on 3rd and longs, which is a pretty crazy stat for sure. I wasn't really expecting I know granted people are going to probably say, oh, they haven't really played a good quarterback. They played against Caleb Williams. They played against Jake Browning, and who was the 3rd quarterback they played? Michael Penix. So they're going to point out the quarterback play. And I think, first of all, for all the haters out there, Caleb Williams is a good quarterback, but obviously he didn't play well in that particular game. Yeah, I guess in a third and long situation, he didn't play well. I wonder who got that first 3rd and long. I wonder. I feel like I probably was Caleb, but I can't remember. So anyways, moving on to the next game here. We'll move on to the Commanders and the Falcons. And it sounds like they won't, well, I guess it actually is official now, but I tried doing this portion a bit later, but they just came out now, probably 10 minutes ago, saying that Jane Daniels and Terry McLaurin will not be playing this game against the Falcons. Because I had a quote, I wrote it down from his Jaden Daniels from a quote that a reporter asked him saying, do you feel good enough to be playing on Sunday? And he said, it's up to the doctors. It's not my decision. So I guess clearly the doctors made the decision not to play Jaden Daniels once again, which I think is okay because next week you got the Chargers and you want Jaden Daniels to be healthy for that game. And if these are the 2 games that Jaden Daniels missed, I think that's okay then because obviously he played against the Raiders and the Falcons, and I don't think neither team, I should say, is all that good. So I think you'll be okay. Plus, Marcus Mariota's done a pretty good job being the backup quarterback for the Commanders and has ran the offense pretty well. So I guess we'll have to wait and see what this matchup is going to bring us for sure. As for the Falcons, they are bringing their offensive coordinator down from the booth to the field, and then they fire their not their offensive coordinator, but their wide receiver coach is now TJ Yates is now the wide receiver coach, I believe, who was the quarterback's coach too. So that's interesting. I don't know what his previous position was. I feel like TJ Yates is a quarterback's coach. I feel like just because he played quarterback in the NFL. So you would think he was probably a quarterback coach or some type of offensive minded position, you would think. But yeah, I don't know, because I feel like if you're the Falcons, you got to get some type of offense going, because like the past two games have not looked good whatsoever. Because like now week one matchup, they looked good. They had their moments where Michael Penix played well, and then the past two games have not done any favors whatsoever. So you gotta, it's either put up or shut up time, because I feel like if the Falcons offense is not doing anything this week, then probably the offensive coordinator's job is definitely going to be on the hot seat, and things will not be going over well in Atlanta if either one they have another if they have another shutout where they don't do anything offensively, or they lose this game, because I think the Falcons are what now 1-2, so they have to go 1-3. Things are not going to look good in Atlanta. So yeah, all right. Let's move on here to the Saints and Bills game. I don't really have anything good to say about the Saints, because they are simply just not any good whatsoever. The point spread's up to like 15.5 points, I think, as of right now. Let me check real quick to see what the updated spread is. I think it's still probably at 15, but I could double check here. It is at, still 15.5 points. The over-under is 47.5 points. Yeah, it's not looking good for the good old Saints. Spencer Ryder has yet still to win a game, which is kind of crazy, because I thought when someone told me that, I'm like, really? He hasn't won a game yet? Because I feel like there was one game where I thought they might have won with him, but I guess not. He's like 0-9 as a starter, and I think the record is for the if he loses again, he joins a club of losing 10 straight as a starter, because I think the record is with who's that one quarterback for the Browns? It was. I can't think of his name already, but it's the Kaiser, I believe his name is. Kaiser was 0-15 as a starter, which was one of the years where the Browns went winless. That's not all that shocking. So yeah, I would if I'm being honest with you, I would just take the points. Just take the points with the Buffalo, or lay the points. Or no, wait, yeah, you want to. I always get confused about the lingos of the sporting world, but just take the 15. Just set it and never, you don't have to even really worry about it. But this could also be an NFL thing where the Saints could make it interesting, but I don't think so at all. I don't think this game's going to even be remotely close. The Bills are just going to absolutely kill them. So I'm just going to say the Bills win for 38-6. All right, let's talk about this game, the Browns and Lions. So supposedly, I just found out that the Lions and Browns have a trophy for this game, but usually only gets played or gets used during the preseason, which doesn't make any sense to me. So I'm going to do some quick research on the spot here about the and Browns trophy. Nope. Oh gosh, trying to spell trophy. Here we go. Trophy. Here we go. So yeah, I guess. So yes, it's reference to the Great Lake Classic. The trophy is an annual preseason trophy awarded to the winner of the exhibition game between the Lions and Cleveland Browns from 2002 to 2014. I think they should use it during the regular season. I think this would be kind of cool. And granted, I understand that this is sort of more of a college thing, but like if you had like one NFL team that plays for a trophy, that'd be kind of cool. I think there should be certain teams that when they play their rivals, they should, or like this type of game, like Detroit versus Cleveland. I think this would be great if like if the Bears and Packers don't, like the Bears Packers don't need a trophy, but like I'm trying to think of like NFL teams of it. I think like I'm trying to think. Oh, like you know who would be a good trophy game? The Jets and Giants would be a good trophy game. I think that would be a good trophy game. I think that would be a good trophy game. I think the Pittsburgh Steelers and Eagles would be a good trophy game, because obviously they don't play each other very often. I think if you did like a more of a trying to think of other teams out there, that would be sort of like a good trophy game in the NFL. If you did like Saints and Falcons, that'd be a good, fun trophy game. So I feel like you got to pick your spots if you do want to do a trophy game in the NFL. I feel like it's only got to be about a couple teams, either from different opposite sides of the conference, or teams that really truly hate each other. Because I don't think the Bears and Packers don't really deserve a trophy, but I do like the idea that whoever wins this game, but even though it's technically a regular season, but it would be a lot funner if they actually would do the trophy game during the regular season, and like how if like say the Detroit wins and they get to keep the trophy and they like hold it up, and it's basically, if you're curious on what the trophy looks like, it's basically just two helmets of the teams, and then they're like some type of ship. Let's see, the trophy itself was nicknamed the Barge. It was designed as a representative of the Great Lake Fighter, featuring both teams' helmets in the series was lighthearted rivalry since has ended. It's got some type of ship. I don't know what the ship is for sure, but yeah, let's see if there's any more details about it. Let's see. The tradition was created by former Browns president Cameron Policy to honor the historical connection between the two teams and that share a connection to the Great Lakes. The preseason series and the trophy has not been used since the 2014 season, which is kind of crazy. I feel like they should keep doing this. If you have a trophy thing for it, they should keep going. They should keep doing it. So yeah, enough with the trophy stuff. But to go with Detroit, basically, I feel like if you're Detroit, you're basically going to want to continue the success. You keep running the ball because like after that week 1 performance, I feel like you guys they've done a lot better of just showing up and just playing Detroit Lions football. Because like I think in the NFC North, I think they're probably the best team in the NFC North, even though we saw them play against the Packers and they lost, but that was week 1, and you can't really overreact too much to a week 1 game. You got to play the games to see who's better that day. But I think as of right now, I think the Packers are not better than Detroit as of right now. Now, if they play again, Detroit and the Packers lose or beats them again, then I will simply say the Packers are simply just better than them. But I think right now, Detroit's playing some good football right now. They're looking pretty unstoppable on offense. So there's nothing you can really do if the offense is going to click for them. And I think the defense is going to get a little bit better. This is a team you don't want to play right now because they are playing some good football. As for the Browns, I don't know. I feel like this is sort of going to be a interesting Flacco game because like they did not do anything offensively in that Packers game. It was not looking good whatsoever. There was like lots of punts, not really moving the ball all that much. And I feel like if he throws a turnover or they continue to punt and not really do anything on offensively, they might have to throw in whoever the backup is. I think it's Dylan Gabriel's the backup, I believe, is the backup to Joe Flacco as of right now. I mean, yeah, I get it. Like, I don't know how, I'm still trying to figure out. I mean, I know how they won because Jordan Love threw it right to that defender, which was the most ridiculous interception I've seen him thrown. I mean, you threw it right to him, but they shouldn't have won that game, in all honesty. I don't know. It's just, it still kind of mind boggles me. But yeah, I mean, I would also just lay the points with Detroit and just set it and forget it. Like, you don't even have to worry about it because I think Detroit's going to crush them. And the Browns actually have like a really good defense too. They have like they have legit like top 10 defense that could win them a lot of games. If the offense would just, I don't know who. I think there's some like type of injuries that are going on with that receiving core. Plus, I don't think the receivers are any that good either. So I couldn't name you is Drake Tillman still on the roster for the Browns, but yeah, I think the offensively for the Browns, you got to find ways to score because if you're going up against Detroit, and Detroit's going to be able to go down the field without hardly anything, but maybe the Browns can slow them down defensively just a little bit, just to sort of keep them in this game because obviously they slow down the Packers enough. So you would think you could slow down the Lions offense just a little bit. So it'll be an interesting matchup for sure, I think. So let's keep our eyes on that matchup. All right, let's move on here to the next game, which is the New England Patriots versus the Carolina Panthers. My only thing is that I feel like there are people out there in the New England area or just people in the football world that are kind of questioning now if Drake Maye is any good, which I might be on the same boat, but I haven't really watched too much of the Patriots, not much, because I don't think they're that good, so I'm not going to really watch too much of Patriots game. But maybe if I watch them just a little bit more, maybe I'll get like more of a sense on what's going on with the Patriots right now. Because I think Drake Maye is a good quarterback. I don't think the offense is any good. Obviously, if they're turning the ball over six times, you're not going to win any football games. But they were still in it with the Steelers and only down a touchdown. So I don't know what that says about the Steelers, but if you would stop turning the ball over, maybe you'll have something. So I don't know what to make of the New England Patriots right now. So maybe I'll have them on one of my TVs and maybe I'll like kind of watch a little bit more and maybe figure out what to really make of them as of right now. But otherwise, I don't really have any more notes or thoughts for the Patriots. But yeah, that Stevenson guy, if he fumbles again, he might get cut here pretty soon because holy cow. If anything, if he fumbles again, just bench him and don't put him back out there because I would just leave the rookie Henderson out there. I would never put that Stevenson guy back on the field again. But yeah, as for the Panthers, I think the rookie wide receiver is going to be, sounds like he might not be able to play this game. So that's going to be a tricky one for the Panthers, because I don't know who else they're going to throw it to. Going to throw it to Hunter Renfrow, like Xavier Legette, is he back? Is he coming back? I know he's hurt, but I don't know if he's playing or not. Because, like, if he's not playing either, like I said, I don't know who you're going to throw it to. So, I mean, defensively, you shut out the Falcons' offense, but I feel like prior to that, you guys weren't really doing a whole lot. I feel like they're not really pressuring the quarterback all that well. So yeah, I don't know what to make of it. I feel like I just keep saying that a lot. So yeah, I mean, if the Panthers could somehow create some pressure and maybe sack the quarterback just a little bit, maybe they'll be better than what they are. All right. Let's go over to the Chargers versus the Giants. Jackson Dart time, ladies and germs. It is now Jackson Dart time. So now, obviously, we all saw the Sunday night game. That was a horrible performance by Russell Wilson, not playing any good football. Just, obviously, he played really well against the Dallas Cowboys defense, and obviously, we all know what the make of Dallas defense is not any good, and Dallas defense made it look good. And then what we saw against the Chiefs, that was not any good. You're just like in the fourth down play in the red zone, you're throwing it out of bounds. You have to throw it to somebody. You can't just throw it out of bounds. So, I mean, so we'll see what the kid looks like with Jackson Dart. All you want to see is to see that Jackson Dart's playing good football, and he isn't gonna like turn the ball over a bunch, or isn't gonna do anything crazy like that. So you would hope that. Oh goodness, I'm yawning. Because the main concerns basically with Jackson Dart is that you don't really want to ruin the kid just yet. And if you just throw him out there just to quote unquote save your job, if you're Brian Dable, you don't really want to do that either. But if you think he's the best option right now at quarterback, then you throw him out there. Because Russell Wilson was certainly not going to be the case. I mean, obviously you could have thrown Jameis Winston, but if you feel like Jameis Winston isn't necessarily going to help you either, then I guess go with Jackson Dart. So, because like if I'm the Giants, I would just keep finding ways to give Neighbors the ball instead of having him go and do like go routes every single time with them. Because obviously he can go make those types of plays where he can go down the field and go on go routes and maybe do like a jump ball or beat his defender and catch it. But otherwise, I feel like you got to get him to do like other types of routes. You can't just keep having him go on go routes. So find ways to get him the ball. All right. As for the Chargers, Justin Herbert sort of, basically what we're all thinking is Justin Herbert's probably in the candidate and probably the leading candidate for MVP. What I feel like us football fans and the quote-unquote experts are kind of saying about Justin Herbert. He's playing really good football. I would agree. Justin Herbert's playing some excellent football right now. Quentin Johnston's catching the ball, so that's good. You love to see that. He's catching the football again. Keenan Allen's looking pretty solid, even though last year he kind of showed his age a little bit, but maybe he's turning back the clock just a little bit. Maybe he's showing his own self. And I feel like, Harbaugh I feel like he's a bit of an old school coach. He's going to play defense and run the ball. I feel like they're actually like opening up the playbook a little bit, and they're actually like letting Justin Herbert like make Justin Herbert plays where he could just laser a throw like for 20 yards and letting him cook. And Greg Roman is actually letting him like throw the ball instead of just doing the Harbaugh thing and just running the ball like 5 straight times, which they still are, but I feel like there was a bit more of a being aggressive of throwing the ball than usual with Harbaugh, because Harbaugh is definitely a run-first type of coach. But I feel like Greg Roman's doing a pretty good job with this offense so far. Defensively, they're really good. They're a top 10 defense. They are looking pretty good. So the Chargers are definitely a candidate to being one of the best teams in the AFC. But I would still lean towards the Bills being the best team in the AFC. But you could definitely make an argument for the Chargers. Don't get me wrong. I think the Chargers are going to be a contender in the AFC. If Justin Herbert continues to play this type of football, if he continues to play at this type of level, then the Chargers are definitely going to be in the best team in the AFC, best team in the NFL, in all honesty. So I'll be curious to see, because I think the point spread's pretty low, and I think it's about 6 points. So yeah, I mean, it's just going to be more of a, and it's going to be at the Giants. So there could be weird shit could be happening, and maybe Jackson Dart plays well, and maybe pulls out an offset. We'll have to wait and see what happens in that game. All right, what's the next game here? We've got the Philadelphia Eagles traveling down to Tampa Bay. All right, so 2 undefeated teams left, but one of the only few. I think these are the only 2 left in the NFC, because I think there's about 3 or 4 left in the NFL, and those are the only 2 in the NFC, I believe. Or no, wait, the Niners are. Shit, I forgot about the Niners. So, So, anyways, back to the Bucs. All right, let's go with the Bucs side of things. If you're Tampa Bay, you basically you want to get through this game and try to get people back, staying healthy, because you don't want any more injuries with this team. There's so many injuries with this team. You got Trent Worth hurt, Mike Evans is hurt, Chris Godwin's still hurt, but he could be back for this game. But I don't think he'll play this game. But we'll have to wait and see if he does or doesn't. And you got like a couple offensive linemen hurt. You got some defensive players. They're a little banged up right now, because I think if they're fully healthy, they are a very good, talented team that could go toe-to-toe with anybody. The Bucs have had the Eagles' numbers for a little bit. So, yeah, I mean, it's just going to be like a very good game to watch for sure. The Eagles are favored by 3.5 points as of right now, but I'm excited to watch this game. I think it's going to be a fun game to watch. Like, if you're an Eagles fan, because, so this is basically... We'll sort of go on this point here about the Eagles. Like, the Eagles haven't really dominated anybody yet, even though they're a fantastic football team. They have the championship. They have a heart of a champion, obviously. And that's what we saw last week with the blocked field goal to steal the win. But I feel like that first half of things, they just weren't really clicking on offense. They weren't really doing a whole lot. And their defense showed up a little bit. Their defense looked pretty good. And I think their front seven is really good. Their back end, I just have questions about. So, obviously, I think Eagles fans as well have questions about their secondary. Besides, like, Quavion Mitchell, I think, is going to be a really good player for them. But otherwise, I think, if Baker and them can, expose that secondary and can, really, get the ball out quick and not have to worry about that front four with the Eagles, I think they'll be in good shape. But this is sort of interesting because both these teams are 3-0, but, both these teams could have easily have lost some other games in between. So, if you're an Eagles fan, you could have easily have lost to the Rams, and you probably shouldn't. And, if that kick doesn't get blocked, you lost that game. If CeeDee Lamb would have caught some balls, maybe you lose that game as well. I don't think you would have lost to, who did you lose, or who did you play in week 2? You played the Chiefs. I don't think you were going to lose that game, even though that was an ugly game. I don't think you would have lost that one. And then if you're a Bucs fan, you could have lost to the Falcons. Younghoe Koo would have missed that kick. You could have lost to the Texans, or no, you probably wouldn't have lost to the Texans because there was still plenty of time left on the clock. But if the Texans would have gotten, if Baker wouldn't have gotten that 4th down stop, I think you would have lost that game. And then if granted this one, I was going to say you could have lost to the Jets, but there was still too much time left on the clock. So there was plenty of time for Baker to go down to the field and win the games. There's for each team, both teams, there's about 1 or 2 games that you could have lost there easily, but you're both 3-0 and you win. So that's all matters really in life. That you're winners, and if you're the Eagles, you're a heart of a champion. You find ways to win. And they've won 19 straight games, I think, or something to that effect. It's something crazy. So let's move on here to the last afternoon game. We're gonna go with the Titans going down to Houston, both 0-3 teams. Wow. Okay. The only thing I have on here for the Titans is basically that Cam Warren's, I think, is going to be just fine. He's going to be a good quarterback, and people in Tennessee sound like they're not huge fans of the coach, Brian Callahan, anymore. They want him gone. It sounds like good things are not happening down there, especially with that offense isn't really clicking. And granted, I feel like it's mainly the wide receivers aren't catching the ball for him. Now, granted, I feel like I'm just going based off what I saw in that week 1 game. They're not really doing a whole lot. But I feel like Cam Ward's doing just fine. So you just got to get through the season and but continue to see that Cam Ward's making growth and continues to play really good football for you. So that way, when you do get a new head coach, if the Titans do decide to go with that route, that they find a coach that can continue to bring the best out of Cam Warren. As for the Texans, I don't know what to make of the Texans because I don't think their offense is not good at all. It's simply just not good. And people are going to be questioning CJ Stroud, which they have every right to because he's not playing any good football. But I don't think it's necessarily all his fault either. I think it's just the offense. I think it's the offensive line. I think it's the coordinators. I think it's sometimes it could be the wide receivers' faults as well. It's just there's not a whole lot of chemistry or continuity right now with that offense. So if they could somehow string a couple of good drives out of this game against the Titans, because somebody's got to have to win. I mean, you would think somebody's going to have to win this game, but you can always end it in a tie. People forget. People wouldn't say, well, somebody's going to have to win. Well, technically, somebody doesn't have to win. You can always end it at ties. But yeah, I don't know what else to really make of this, because I don't think both these teams are any good. Well, because what I've seen so far, I think the Texas defense is pretty solid. It is pretty good, but the offense just that offense just needs to get going if you're a Texans fan. All right, let's move on to the afternoon games. We got the first one with the Colts versus the Rams. Indiana Jones and the Colts are looking pretty good right now. I do say so. They're looking pretty good right now. This is going to be a big test for them because their first 3 weeks haven't really played anybody yet besides the Broncos, and I will give my flowers to the Broncos. I think they're going to be fine, but maybe not. I don't know because they beat the Dolphins. They haven't won a game yet. They beat the Titans. They haven't won a game yet. And they beat the Broncos, who only has one win. So this will be a really good test for them to see if they do win this game. And it's in LA as of right now. I should say as of right now. Because where else are they going to move the game? As of right now, it's in LA. No, they're not going to move the game. But anyways, it's in LA. So I feel like I feel like this is going to be a critical moment for the Indianapolis Colts and Danny Dimes to see, one, if this is legit, if the Colts are legit and they're going to be a good team, they're going to be a playoff team. And if Indiana Jones, I should say, I don't want to keep calling him Danny Dimes because I think he's earned the right to be calling himself Indiana Jones. So if Indiana Jones, aka Daniel Jones, wants to be legit, I think this is the game that you kind of like. If you win this game, people are going to be like, all right, the Colts are legit. The Colts are going to be a legit team in the AFC. You're going to be a playoff team. They're going to be a team that we're going to keep our eyes on because Jonathan Taylor's playing well. The line's playing pretty good. The wide receivers are playing pretty good as well. So, and the defense is playing really well as well with the addition to that defensive coordinator from Cincinnati. I can't think of his name, but he's been a good addition for them. So I'm excited to watch this game. It's definitely going to be on one of my televisions. Now, granted, this will be the 3 o'clock slate, so there's only about 4 games. So I'll put it on there for sure. I'm excited about this one. But as for the Rams side of things, I think after that brutal loss, losing because of special teams, getting 2 kicks blocked isn't any good. You don't want that at all if you're a special teams. Nope. Did he see something? Nope. All right. Sorry. All right. So, yeah, if you're... Nope. My goodness. I think he's asleep and he's just barking for no reason. Okay. If you're a Rams fan, you basically just want to get a good bounce back from this game. You're going up against a really good Colts team, and you just want to see that that special teams isn't going to cost you the game, basically. Because if this special teams is going to cost you the game, then you probably got problems special teams wise. So you don't want that. You want to see your offense continue to play pretty well because I feel like their offense in the first half played pretty solid, just besides that first drive where Matthew Stafford threw an interception. But otherwise, I feel like they moved the ball pretty well. It's just you continue want to see consistencies from the Rams because defensively, I think you're going to be pretty good. So, yeah, I mean, I'm going to be watching this game just to really get a good look at what the Rams have to offer because I haven't really watched too much of the Rams besides Eagles games. All right, let's move on here to the Jacksonville Jacksonville versus the Niners. And this game will be in Santa Clara. It sounds like it could be. Now, granted, I don't think the official words come out yet and said that Brock Purdy could be back for this game. I'm not 100% sure. It sounds like he could be back. Kittle still won't be back for this game because he's on the IR, which basically means you miss the first 4 or you're going to be out for 4 games. Brandon Ayuk still probably won't be back for this game as well. Obviously, you losing Nick Bosa is a tough one. Yeah, because I was saying in a previous podcast that the 49ers are a bit of a unlucky team that just keeps constantly having injuries to their squad. But you're 3-0, and even though you did lose Nick Bosa and you have the other 3 offensive players on offense hurt right now, but it sounds like at least Brock Purdy could come back for this game, but we're not. I don't think there's any official word yet on if he's going to play or not, but it sounds like he probably will, but we'll have to wait and see on the official words on that. Oh, I just got an Adam Schefter thing here. Let's see. Oh, that's something else. All right. As for the Jacksonville Jaguars, obviously you beat the Texans, and if you're a Jaguars fan, this is for the Jacksonville Jaguars only, because I was on the same boat as well as you were. I think Shane Waldron's ruining Brian Thomas as we speak, as of right now. And you could also say Travis Hunter too. I don't think it's Lincoln Collins' fault, even though it's his fault for hiring Shane Waldron. You guys need to get rid of him immediately right now. You need to get rid of him because he does not help your team offensively whatsoever. I don't care. It doesn't matter if he's not the offensive coordinator or not. He's a problem. He's a problem. He doesn't let good wide receivers play well. I don't know what it is because Roma Dunze has played a lot better since that doofus of a coach stopped being the coach for the Bears. So Yeah, the Jaguars just got to get rid of Shane somehow. I mean, maybe you just got to find ways to like just say with cause and say that he has ruined Brian Thomas Jr. Because I have Brian Thomas Jr. on both my fantasy teams, and I have had to make this decision to bench Brian Thomas Jr. of my fantasy teams. Now, granted, I have a good amount of depth on the wide receiver position, so I can put someone else in, but I went pretty high on Brian Thomas Jr., and he's not doing anything for me right now. And now, granted, it could be just be him just having the yips or having alligator arms and not catching the ball. And I don't know what to make of the Brian Thomas situation, but because I think the Jaguars are what, two? Are they? No, they're 1-2. I think they're 1-2, right? Yeah, they're 1-2 because they lost to the Bengals and they lost to the. Did they lose to the Panthers? Or no, did they beat the Panthers? No, wait, I think they're 2-1. Are they 2-1? I think they're 2-1. You know what? Let's double check here because I don't want to like speculate on somebody's win loss here. Okay, let's see. The Jaguars are 2-1. All right, I wasn't bullshitting. Okay. All right, the second to last afternoon slate, we got the Baltimore Ravens versus the Kansas City Chiefs. Both teams are 1-2. The loser of this game is going to be 1-3. Now the question is going to be asked: who would you rather be in the situation if you're the team that's 1-3? I would say the Chiefs can't go 1-3 in this game. That is a must-win for Kansas City because I feel like if you're Baltimore, of course you don't want to be 1-3, but you have a better chance of making the playoffs if you win your division because your division is a little bit more easier to win, unlike the Chiefs. Because if the Chiefs go 1-3, they have a bit more of a hill to climb to either one, win the division, or two, even have a conversation about making the playoffs. Because like the AFC's, I don't think the AFC is all that good, but like it's going to be a hell of a climb because like if you lose that game, if you're the Chiefs, if you lose that game, you're 1-3. You have to go to Jacksonville on Monday night, which could be a win, but then you have to go back home for the Lions, which that's gonna be a tough one. It's gonna be a tough one, and then you're home for the Raiders. So there's about 2 winnable games. Like I said, if you let's say they go 2-2 in the next game, so that would make them 3-5, right? Or no? They have 1, so if they lose, that'd be 1-3, 2-3, 2-4, and then 3-4. They'd be 3-4 after the Raiders game, assuming they win that game. So, like I said, I think it's a must. It's more of a must win for the Chiefs than it is for the Ravens. All right, we're back. All right, I had a bit of a catastrophe with my microphone because I accidentally unplugged it by accident. So while the guy was sort of saying, I feel like this is a more of a must win for the Chiefs than it is for the Ravens. Like I was saying, because I feel like the offense for the Chiefs isn't really clicking. There isn't really doing a whole lot offensively for the Chiefs. But if you're the Ravens, I feel like their offense is pretty good, but their defense isn't really playing up to that level of Ravens defense. I don't know. It's gonna be an interesting game right now. As of right now, it's weird. Funny enough, it's actually the Ravens are favored by 2.5 in Kansas City, which is kind of wasn't expecting that. Wasn't really expecting the Ravens to be favored in this game. I was expecting it to be close. I was expecting it to be maybe Chiefs by 2, maybe Chiefs by 1. But so it's gonna be a fun one. It's definitely gonna be a gut check or a reality check for your team. If you lose this game, it's gonna be like fuck. Either we suck, we got some shit to fix. So yeah. All right. The last afternoon game was the Chicago Bears will be traveling all the way to Las Vegas to take on the Raiders. All right. So obviously with last week's performance with Caleb Williams and then offense looked really good. You love to see that. You love to see that Caleb is making that type of steps to show that he can be the guy. You look great. So you love to see that. You just want to see, the first 2 weeks, you saw the glimpses of what the offense could look like and what Caleb could look like. And then I feel like this week, now granted, and people are going to say, oh, you played against the Cowboys defense. The Cowboys defense sucks. Well, obviously it sucks, but you want to see that Caleb isn't going to miss throws or throw interceptions to the terrible defense. So if he continues to play that he did against the Cowboys, against the Raiders, then you're going to be like, oh shit, okay, here we go. Because this is going to be, because last week was a must win. You can't start 0-3, and this was going to be a gateway game for the Bears. Because if you win this game, you're 2-2, you go into a bye, and then you go come from that, going up against the Commanders on Monday night, which not thrilled that it's a Monday night game, but it is what it is. But you just want to continue to see growth from Caleb. You want to continue seeing him making the throws and the plays that you want to see from this Ben Johnson offense. And that, it's always going to be tough with the Ben Johnson offense, because I feel like people have kind of been saying we got to be patient with Caleb. We got to be, which we absolutely should be. And we can criticize him in sometime in November if he isn't running the offense how we want, how it should look. But I feel like I've heard from a different type of quarterback saying it's going to take about a year to really get this offense, for Caleb to really understand this offense, which I kind of agree in a sense that it's going to take about a year to really like get some type of groove with this offense, because it's a bit of a complicated offense, which I totally agree with, that Ben's offense, it's a bit of a complicated offense for sure. I would agree with that. As for the Raiders, I would think, can we get some type of good blocking for Ashton Genty? He hasn't really done a whole lot, and you spent a first-round pick on him, and he's a really talented running back, but you just got to block. Why aren't you guys blocking? Block for the guy. If you block for him, he's going to do good things for you. So, I don't know. Maybe the Raiders should spend some draft picks on offensive linemen this offseason, so that way you can able to run the ball with Genty, because if you just find ways to get Genty the ball and find holes for him to run, he's going to make plays for you. So, I mean, I don't think Gino's a weird quarterback, because like he has moments of showing great quarterback play, and then there are moments where we saw in the Chargers game where he just didn't look all that great. So, and I don't think the defense is necessarily all that great either. So I expect my Bears to win. I hope the Bears win. I'm not going to try to give my hopes up too much, because I have looked, and I saw one tweet where the next 8 games after this are looking pretty good, because like, you know what I'm saying? Because like we go on the bye, and then I saw the rest of the schedule, and there's a lot of winnable games for us. Look, I don't want to give my hopes up too much. I don't want to set the bar too high for me, because I don't want to get hurt again. I really don't, But at the same time, it's looking pretty good right now for the Bears. But I mean, the defense isn't fixed. Obviously, what we saw last week from the Bears defense it's not fixed. There's still some injuries, and we wish we could have Jalen Johnson back. But if they could just play semi-good defense, or not even semi, I shouldn't say semi, just play good defense. Not excellent. You don't have to play out of this world. If you just play good defense, hold teams about under 21 points, then, we might be able to win some games here. Because, like I said, we get the Raiders this week, then we go to the bye, then we get the Commanders. Then I think after the Commanders, I think we get the Bengals. I think it's next. So, like I said, I just don't want to give my hopes up too much on what the record could be the next couple games for the Bears. So, all right, let's talk about the Sunday night matchup between the Packers and the Dallas Cowboys. Micah Parsons returning back to Dallas since being traded from Dallas, and the Packers are favored by 6.5 points. Jerry Jones already came out and said they're not going to do a tribute video, which I agree. You don't need to do a tribute video for Micah Parsons. Hasn't really earned, I think, a tribute video, but I think the Packers defensively is what wasn't necessarily the problem last week against the Browns. I think that was fine. It was just more the offense with Jordan Love didn't necessarily play to their level of whatever you want to call good play, even though I've always had the take about Jordan Love, which I will keep to myself, that I don't think he's all that good, but I would just keep that to myself. And people are going to, say and give me all these stats. And I have like one relative who isn't a Packers fan, but he's more of I guess you want to say a realistic, we're doing the air quotes. And he thinks that Jordan Love's good, but I genuinely don't think he's like all that great, what sometimes some of the media people like to think and say that he is. So sure, he can make some spectacular throws, but he also can do some really dumb throws as well, where you go, what the hell was he thinking on that play? So yeah, I mean, it's just gonna be an interesting matchup. It's gonna be an interesting matchup with Dallas defense being god awful. And then if you have any Packers players on your fantasy team, you start them, and then if you want to bet on player props, take the over on pretty much all of it. So I would think after that performance last week against the Bears, you would think the defense is going to play slightly better. You would think, right? You would hope. If you're a Cowboys fan, you'd hope that the defense would play semi better than what it has played, but I don't think that's going to be the case. I'd also would probably just take the over as well. Last week's over didn't hit, but I think the Cowboys offense is good enough to get you enough points where you could get where it could get hit the over. So just out of spite, I'm going to say the Cowboys upset the Packers. I'm going to say the score is going to be 20 or I'm going to say 31-28 is going to be a final score. That's my final prediction on that. So, yeah. All right, that's your previews for week 4. Anything else before I have to get off here and to the real world and go to work, I think? Let's see. You know what? Let's do some college football real quick since we are on the topic here of football. And like I said in the top of the show, where it's going to be a fantastic week of football. Tonight we got Florida State versus Virginia. We got TCU versus Florida State. Those are some interesting matchups in the Friday slate. Was there any other ones in the Friday slate? Oh, we got Houston versus Oregon State, but no one's going to really probably watch that much of that game. But it should be I think Houston will probably win. Really, it's mainly just gonna be Saturday with USC going to Illinois, and then you got Notre Dame versus Arkansas. Just you could be like, "Oh, Chan, that's not really gonna be that fun because both teams aren't necessarily all that good." I agree, but I think it's more just principle, name, brands, stuff like that. Then you got if I can get Washington versus Ohio State going to Washington. That should be a fun game to watch. LSU versus Ole Miss with Lane Kiffin's daughter dating one of the starting linebackers for LSU, which is a crazy storyline that's happening right now with LSU and Ole Miss, with Ole Miss's head coach's daughter dating LSU's linebacker. One of the starting linebackers is crazy. I don't know. I would love to know how they got to know each other and how they started dating. I would love to know that storyline. And you got Auburn versus A&M. That should be a good game. You got Iowa versus Indiana. Then you've got a couple other good solid games as well of Alabama versus Georgia, and let's see, where are the other games? Oregon versus Penn State is basically the big one, prime time on NBC with Oregon and Penn State. Neither one of them have played anybody good. So this will be a really good test for both teams to see where they stack up against each other, where their season's going to look the rest of the year. I think that's really about it for all the good marquee games. So, like I said, if you're just a fan of sports and you just want to watch sports all day, get your TV setups, get the Ryder Cup on, get the footballs on, just sit on your couch, order some food and just relax and find a good spot on the couch to relax. Because it's gonna be a fun weekend for sure. I can't wait for this weekend. It's gonna be a fun weekend for sure. It's gonna be some real good stuff going on this weekend. So let's do a quick update on what's going on with the Ryder Cup here. Let's see what's going on with the Ryder Cup. All right, so it looks like all right, so it looks like we're still down 3-1. Still playing the Friday's 4 balls, best balls, basically. It's looking like that John Rahm and his partner are now up two against Scotty and JJ, and looking like that Ben Griffin and Bryson DeChambeau are up 1 against Tommy Fleetwood and Justin Rose, and then we've got Cameron Young versus Justin Thomas up 2 against the other 2 Europeans who I do know, but I'm not going to try and pronounce their names because they look tough to pronounce. And then the last group we have is Sam Burns versus Patrick Cantley are down 1 against Rory McIlroy and Shane Lowry. So if you're a golf fan, I'm sure you're excited about this weekend. Should be just like I said, just get some food, order in or make some food and just watch all the sports, because these are all the moments that we talk about. If you're a sports fan, that like I sort of said on the top of the show, that we live for these moments, we live for these weekends where we just get to watch some great action, great sports, and great football. So go Team USA, go Team USA, and bring home the Ryder Cup and beat Europe. So that's pretty much it. Gonna be it for today's show. Hopefully the show will get out at a reasonable time and I won't have to do some quick editing or anything crazy like that. So with that all being said, I will see you guys next time. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast on Apple, Spotify, and whatever audio platform you typically listen to on. Or if you want to watch the show on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube show. It's under Tweet Show Podcast. So make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel as well. Some great content is always being put out there on the YouTube. I've started to clip it some segments from the show to get it out there. That way, if you don't necessarily watch all the show, I would strongly recommend that you watch all of the show and listen to the entirety of the show. So anyways,
I appreciate everybody watching the show or listening to the show. I will see you guys hopefully on Monday and getting to recap all of this weekend's actions with the Ryder Cup, and maybe not too much of the Ryder Cup because I probably won't watch too much of it, but I will try my best to read some stuff and listen to some stuff and understand what happened in the Ryder Cup. So hopefully Team USA wins and we beat Europe. So that's all you get. That's all you can ask for. And sometimes is that we beat Europe in golf, even though Europe's got some really good golfers as well. So anyways, I will catch you guys next time.